Okay, this is a brief preview and demonstration of how to use EndNote software, and Microsoft Word in conjunction with each other in order to write papers and to cite using the bibliography itself. So, of course, you need to have installed Microsoft Word as well as EndNote, and I recommend using the Chrome browser. It's going to be probably the more efficient of the browsers to use because it has certain extensions. Specifically, it has an extension for Google Scholar, which makes the process a lot easier. So, just to show you how you add things to your EndNote library, let me just give you a demonstration. Here is one of my EndNote libraries. I have several, just depending on the courses I've been in. So the way it works is you can choose what fields it populates with. It'll default to author, year, title, and a couple others. I recommend including rating, just that way you can mark how useful the particular paper was for you. Once you've imported these references into EndNote, you can then start adding notes. If you double click on any one of these entries, it loads with all of the fields that you can then edit. So if you need to, everything is editable. What is highly useful is that once you import these citations, basically they come pre-ready. The thing that makes it useful, though, is that you scroll down far enough and there are fields for adding notes. So I add notes about the reading that I've done. So here's me trying to do some summaries, putting my ideas in. This acts as a standalone. And then when I'm going back to write the papers, I can reference these summaries. So yeah, there's a note section, there's a research note section, and there's a place to put file attachments. If you right click here, you have the option to attach files. You can attach any type of file, PDF, JPEG, just any type of file whatsoever. What makes this useful is that any type of notes that you may have gotten in a class discussion, you can then download and put them here. And most importantly, you can include the actual PDF, and then you have access to it whenever you wish. Once you've made any adjustments here, these fields up across the top, they apply to whichever window is open. So I can click on File and do Save, and that'll save any functions here. If you don't, you just click the red X and you've made a change. Say, it'll ask, of course, you want to save. Now I can say yes or no. Of course, I don't want anything this time. Once you do, it'll close it out. You do not have to open those windows ever. You have the option to split your windows, your layouts, and there's a layout tab at the bottom, and in version 7 I think it's up at the top someplace. Regardless, this is, I think, the ideal way of laying out your material. Over here it has it'll do a preview or just a miniaturized window of whatever attached information you have, whatever files you saved over here. You can actually view them over here, and you'll see them across the top. So let me see if I can go to um, uh, a library that yeah, so here we go. Here's my main library. So I made it large so it's easier to see. Same idea, same setup. Here's my library. I have 133 references in here. I've broken all these references up into groups according to what modules I've taken here at King's. And then when I write my assignments, I make an assignment set. So it's like this will pull from each one of these groups as I need it to. And this is just a place to import information. You'll notice I've rated certain readings, and this is according to their usefulness for me for this assignment. Um, and you'll notice that some of these things have attachments. Usually I pull in all of the papers, but some of them are just references. I've read them and I don't feel the need to pull in the papers, or I only have a citation. I don't have access to the papers, or they might be in book form, and some of those book forms are not online. So just for instance, here's the Horizon report. If I click on this, I'm going to open this up a bit more, and I pull this layout window up so we can see it better. You will see over to the side there indeed is the Horizon report as a PDF file off to the side, and so it is in smaller form. I can read it here. If you double click on it, I believe it'll open up if you click on this pop-out window, it'll open it as a interactable window, which you can then scroll through, and you have interactive buttons where you can highlight text. And I think it makes that text searchable, I believe, once you've highlighted. So those are all useful features. Now, how to build the library. Making groups is pretty straightforward. You'll see this whenever you open up EndNote. You just click on My Groups, right click on it and create a group, and then give it a name. Pretty straightforward. From there, to actually add citations into EndNote, I'm going to go to Chrome, and I'm doing a paper currently on cell phones. So this is an article about cell phones. And so if I wanted to import this, I like the article. I can click on the course in Scholar and read it. Perhaps what I see, I go, yes, this is definitely an article I want. I'm reading through it. Um, then I can add this one of two ways. This is the way that you'll do it from Scholar, and it's the more general form. You just click on Cite. And if you don't have the citation button, you need to click on your settings in Scholar, and you can turn on the citation button so that it'll have it. And then at the bottom, you'll notice it has these different bibliography softwares. You're going to, of course, click on EndNote if you're using EndNote like me. And what it will do is it will then it'll allow you to save an EndNote file. Now, it doesn't matter where you save it. Personally, I recommend you just make a new folder and you throw all these EndNote files in there. It doesn't really matter if you name them or not. It doesn't benefit anybody to give them the name of this particular link, because ultimately these files are going to get dropped into the program, and the program will then pull in all the information from the file itself. So just save it somewhere. But make it someplace that's not going to be messy. So put it in a new folder like this, and then just start throwing them all in there. Okay. So now you have that EndNote article. It's downloaded here. I can either access it from the folder, or I can just do a drag and drop, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab it, drag it, and I'm going to go to EndNote. And if I drop it, I don't know why, but if I put it here in the border, it'll import the link. And it lets sit here as an imported reference. It's also classified here as an unfiled, meaning I haven't put it in a group yet. So I then select it. This is about cell phones, so that applies directly to this assignment. So I'm going to add this to my new group set here. So now if you notice that 52 became a 53, and so I should now see this in my new group set, and that's Campbell, and it's alphabetized. Yeah, so there it is, and you notice I already had her, excuse me, in here, so I don't need to have it twice. It just clutters up my my EndNote library. Just hit delete; it'll take care of it, and it's gone, no problem. Right, so here's the article. I've given it a rating, and if I need to put feedback about what I read, I can do that as well down below. Fantastic. Now, how to use this in your paper. So I'm going to pull up Word now. I'm reading along, and I see a place that I really want to put that link in. So in order to do so, you need to have the EndNote add-on put in your Word program. It's the best way of doing this. But I click on EndNotes, and there's an option for Insert Citation. Okay, if you just click on the main button, it'll pull up a window for EndNote, and then you start doing a search for what you're looking for. Here are your options. Our main one is just going to be Insert Citation. And now I need to go searching for that particular citation. You can search by any of the fields you have in EndNote across the top. So author, year, title. If I type in Campbell, it should be enough. Or even part of the name should be enough. So there we go. And sure, it's still in both spots. It's because it still exists in as a general file, I suppose. I only deleted it out of that group. I didn't delete it out of the library itself. That's why it's doubled up. But yeah, so just click on one, doesn't matter, they're the same thing. And then you can just double click, that will import it or insert it, or you can go below and click on insert. And these fields are really nice. So if you're saying Campbell's discussion, because Campbell's the author we're going to cite, Campbell, and I want to say Campbell 2006 in parentheses, I can do that. I can just have in parentheses. So it gives you some playability with the way you write as an in-text citation. So if I'm just putting it at the end of a thought that I've written, then I'm just going to click on insert. That's the most basic way. And double clicking will give you this as well as the default. So now it's updating my library, and that library it's updating is updating it on this Word document. So now I have a link. It seems like a lot of work just for one link. The beauty of it is this has now been added to my references. It builds your reference at the very end of your paper. So at the end of my paper, I now have Campbell added, if it wasn't already before. It gets added alphabetically. It's getting formatted as well. And I've turned on my format to Harvard in their years. Anyway, so here it is. Here's Campbell. It's now in there. But perhaps you need to change it. You go, oh no, I want to write it a different way. Right click on it, and then you have edit citations. And here you can edit out as you need. And then there's a more field, and this is a useful field. You should look into it. This lists all of the spots I've used references. So this highlights the current one in my paper. This allows me to add things like page numbers. Now, supposedly it can be done here in Pages. I've had issues with that. I just add any, if I'm citing page numbers, I put comma, page, and whatever page number, and this will insert it into my citation. Only in this particular citation. It won't add it to all the preceding or succeeding instances where I use Campbell. It just puts it in right here. So that's a useful feature. The other thing is, if you want to delete a citation, I highly recommend you use this field and go remove citation. Trying to delete it by hand causes a lot of issues. People try to use like the Control Z to like do the undo function. Bad idea, because Word is trying to undo something and it's interacting with another program, so it's a big mess. I don't recommend it. It causes havoc, causes your programs to freeze up. Just click remove citation, save yourself the agony. The other thing it has here is it says insert citation, meaning if you want to insert another citation at the same point, and then you can have multiple authors being cited for that particular idea that you're referencing. So this is a nice functionality of EndNote. You add somebody else. Maybe I want to add Cobb here. So I can do so. So now it's got two authors. If I click OK, let's see how this is now changed. So it has to update, of course, the bibliography down below, as well as building the syntax citation for me. So now there it is, Campbell, and of course there's that page reference if I wanted it, which wouldn't make sense to have a page reference and another author. That's strange. And then, of course, it adds the second author. And again, if you want to modify this, go to Edit Citations and More, and then it'll allow you to make edits to the reference. If you didn't want them, just click Remove and save yourself the agony of doing anything else, because it will cause havoc in your paper. Save EndNote files. Let me show you the slickest trick I have for quickly building your library, and that is this extension right here. This is the Google Scholar button. So I'm going to pull up an article. Let's just pull up this one. This is and let's see if it has any references in it that I can quickly pull for you. Say you're looking around and you go, oh, I like this title. I would like to get the citation for it. Maybe this one right here. You go, oh, this is nice. If you highlight this and click on this Google Scholar extension, it'll pull up things that a search for you. It'll do a quick search of Google Scholar for you. And here's the nice thing. You can now do a citation of this article from Google Scholar by clicking on this quotation button. So now you can either, of course, do the copying and pasting. That's fine. But here is the EndNote reference immediately. So I just click on it. It'll load a save button. And of course, I'm going to save everything to that folder and then drop all of them in at once. It's faster than doing one at a time. And once it does, it closes down the window and it brings you back to whatever page you're on. So perhaps you were reading an article and that article had in it citations. It'll look through PDFs that you are reading. So if I'm looking at a PDF and I find a citation in the PDF itself, any text that you can highlight, this button will allow you to do a search. Now, if you don't click on anything, it'll either have what you had last in the field or it'll be blank. So you can type in something there as well. So I can type in a field and it'll go looking for something. And if I find the one I want, again, I can click on these quotation boxes and click on EndNote. That pulls in the reference. If you see that you want to pull up the actual page as a Google Scholar page, this button will pull it up as a Google Scholar page, and it functions just the same as before. So that is a fantastic way of pulling in your citations. I hope this has been a beneficial video. It's way too long. I hope you've skipped around because I take too long to get to stuff. And of course, I'll edit it briefly before sending it out. And with that, I wish you all the best.